Well, hello and welcome to Misheard Song Lyrics. We're at season 2, episode 83. Can you believe that? And we're going to do our first ever Journey misheard song lyric. The misheard song lyric is smell of wine and cheap perfume. And correct lyrics is smell of wine and cheap perfume. Can you believe this is the first time I've covered a Journey misheard song lyric? I know some of you are like, no, you did. No, I didn't. I did a Steve Perry misheard song lyric all the way back on episode 66 with Oh Sherry, where some of you had thought he sang cinnamon gum instead of should have been gone. So a solo project, not an actual Journey. This iconic song and much sung karaoke to American Idol staple keeps going on and on and on and on. I'm sorry, I cannot help myself. I love and hate the song whenever I'm in a local karaoke bar. It either goes one way or another, but most of the time it goes another, which isn't always the best. However, there have been a couple times when I've been surprised, actually no, tickled, when someone so unassuming gets up to the stage, sings it, and just nails it. That's the beauty of this song. So let's talk about Don't Stop Believin'. It is a song by American rock band Journey, originally released as the second single from their 11th album called Escape back in 1981. Wow, 40 years ago, yes. It became a number 9 hit on the Billboard Hot 100 on its original release after entering the chart position at 56 on October 3rd, 1981, Halloween, my favorite holiday. Surprisingly, the song was not a top 40 hit on its original release in the UK, so it took a while for this song to warm up to the folks in the UK, but it reached number 6 back in 2010, so just 11 years ago, following the popularity of a song version or cover version of this song by the cast of a comedy drama show called Glee. So those remember that show Glee, they sang it, and then it came back in the zeitgeist and in our minds and topped the charts. So about Journey. Journey, again, is an American rock band formed in San Francisco in 1973, composed of former members of, I did not know this, Santana, mind blown, and a weird band called Frumious Bandersnatch. So we'll talk more about that. So you're saying, what? Santana, Frumious Bandersnatch? What does this mean? Former members of Santana. So the first did you know, because there's going to be a lot of them during this episode, is the original members of Journey came together in San Francisco, like I said, in 1973 under the doings of a former Santana manager, Herbie Herbert, to kind of put them all together. He was the master behind this amazing band. They originally called the Golden Gate Rhythm Section and was supposed to be used as a backup group for any established Bay Area artists. The band consisted of Santana alumni Neil Schon on lead guitar, Greg Raleigh on keyboards and lead vocals. Now, one thing I found out about Raleigh, he's amazing. He is actually a 2-time inductee of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, having been inducted as a former member of Santana back in the Hall of Fame in 1998, and then most recently as a member of Journey in 2017, so twice inducted. Bassist Ross Valerie and rhythm guitarist George Tickner both came from the other band that's called Frumious Bandersnatch. Interesting name, right? Well, it's a psychedelic rock band that was formed in the late 60s, named after a character from the Lewis Carrolls who wrote Alice in Wonderland poem Jabberwocky. So that's where they got that band name, which rounded out the group with Perry Prince of the Tubes, who served as drummer. So just a great amalgamation of all these talented folks. So did you know, number 2, after one performance in Hawaii, the band quickly abandoned their backup group concept and developed a distinctive jazz fusion style. I did not see this coming. And after an unsuccessful radio contest to name the group, supposedly a roadie by the name John Villanueva suggested the name Journey because of the journey of this band that's going. So wherever you are, John Villanueva, if you're listening to this podcast, we'd love to talk to you. I digress. So there was actually, the original singer, which we had was Greg Raleigh. They added a co-lead singer by the name of Robert Fleischman. And in a while, him and manager Herbie Herbert did not mesh well, which led to his departure. And then the hiring of Steve Perry as their new lead singer. Best hire ever, right? He made his live debut with the band at the Old Waldorf in October of 1977, stepping into his master's studios and Cherokee studios from October to December. Herbie Herbert, the band's manager I had mentioned, hired a Roy Thomas Baker. Why would he hire this gentleman? He's a great producer, and he also came from producing other band, maybe you've heard of him, called Queen. And he's known to add a layered sound approach, which is why he was hired. And so now you got a new lead singer with Steve Perry, a new producer. The band's fourth album, called Infinity, released in January 1978, peaked at number 21 in the Billboard. So magic is being made. So Journey had their biggest commercial success between 1978 and 1987, where Steve Perry was the lead vocalist and well-known one, and many beloved fans. I am one of them. They released a series of hit songs, which is, of course, Don't Stop Believin' we're talking about today, at 1981, which in 2009 became the top-selling track in iTunes history, among others not released in the 21st century. It's crazy it came back. And then Escape, Journey's seventh and most successful album, reached number one on the Billboard 200 and added another more popular single such as Open Arms. Beautiful ballad. The 1983 follow-up album called Frontiers was almost as successful in the United States, reaching number two and spawning several successful singles. And it also gave more appeal to the UK folks that were still giving a cold shoulder to Journey, where it reached number 6 on the UK album chart. And then they actually had a nice, successful reunion in the mid-1990s and have since regrouped twice. First with different singer Steve Aguirre from 1998 and 2006, then with Filipino Arnel Pineda from 2007 to present, who is my Filipino brother from another mother. And did you know number 3 with him was, when I was going down the rabbit hole of who is Arnel Pineda and all that, he was, of course, a struggling artist in the Philippines, was founded by Neil Sean and others when they saw his YouTube tapes or videos of him covering Journey, of course. But what I thought was interesting is he sang with a former band he had back in the late 90s called New Age. So in 1998, he was asked to perform by the owner of Igor's, a horror-themed restaurant nightclub in Hong Kong, dressed in skeleton outfits, and they call themselves the Rolling Bones. I mean, Filipino, karaoke, horror-themed outfits, great name with a bad pun name, I'm in. And again, it seems to hit the theme of Halloween again. So Halloween, and then of course the song became big in October 31st, 1981. It was Kismet. So let's keep going. So sales had resulted in 25 gold and platinum albums, in addition to 15-time platinum RIAA Diamond certified 1988's greatest hits album. I mean, that's amazing. I don't know how many artists have even hit that threshold. They have 19 top 40 singles in the U.S., the second most without a Billboard Hot 100 number one single behind ELO, or Electric Light Orchestras, with 20. Didn't even know that about ELO, so that was a... And then 6 of which reached the top 10 of the U.S. charts, and 2 of which reached number 1 on other Billboard charts, and a number 6 hit in the UK singles chart with Don't Stop Believin'. Then in 2005, Don't Stop Believin' reached number 3 on iTunes Download. Originally, they, known as a progressive rock band, Journey was described by AllMusic as having cemented a reputation as, quote-unquote, one of America's most beloved and sometimes hated commercial rock pop bands by 1978, when they redefined their sound by embracing pop arrangements on their fourth album, Infinity, which I mentioned earlier. Also back in 2005, USA Today did an original poll named Journey the 5th best U.S. rock band in history. Their songs have become arena rock staples, agreed, and are still being played on radio stations across the world, listened to, downloaded, and amazingly, they were ranked, Journey, number 96 on VH1's 100 Greatest Artists of All Time. I would have thought higher, so that was a little surprise there. And then recently, I've added to the link of this podcast a link to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction back in 2017. Inductees included lead singer, of course, Steve Perry, who looked amazing, by the way, has aged quite well, guitarist Neil Sean, keyboardist Jonathan Cain, Greg Raleigh, original keyboardist and co-lead singer, bassist Ross Valerie, and drummers Ainsley Dunbar and currently Steve Smith, who's with the band today. Again, I linked that because I wanted you to see not only what all the other bandmates have said, but I also linked Steve Perry's gracious speech at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2017 because he gives props to not only, other singers, Gary after him, but also current frontman Axel Pineda. So class act indeed. So let's talk about the song background. What's it about other than just keep believing? But there's a story behind it. So keyboardist Jonathan Cain was struggling as a musician in Hollywood. He even says it in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame back in the 70s, so late 70s, 76, 77, before he joined the Babies or Journey. And apparently he was so discouraged and asked his dad, who's now passed away, if he should give up and go back home to Chicago. And this is what he says. And he said, "No, son, stay the course. We have a vision. It's going to happen. Don't stop believing," said Cain. He wrote that in a spiral notebook and tucked it away for many years. So here's how faith comes in. And so in 1980, recording the Escape album with Journey, the producers asked Cain, "Hey, what do you got? Do you have any songs?" So he unearthed that spiral notebook and then, I guess, started writing more into the song. Cain based the verses of the various people he would see cruising Sunset Boulevard in Los Angeles circa 1972. So this is what Cain says, quote unquote. "I described the menagerie of people who would show up on a Friday night and cruise Sunset Boulevard. All the dreamers that had dreams to become actors, producers, artists, lawyers, anything. They were all there on Friday night. Those were the strangers up and down the boulevard." Up and down the boulevard. Okay. He said it was Steve Perry's idea to hold back the chorus until the end of the song to build tension. Genius, Steve Perry. So did you know number 4 is majority of songs usually include that chorus right away. But in this case, the refrain is repeated several times throughout the song. The true chorus to Don't Stop Believin', as well as the first mention of the actual title of Don't Stop Believin', is not even heard until the end of the song, which is about only 50 seconds left. And it's true. I listened to it again, and you're right. It's all the way to the end. Another thing, too, is did you know number 5, with the lyrics being mentioned, born and raised in South Detroit. In the beginning part, there is no such place. I'm not from Detroit, Michigan, but those of you that listen that are from there know this. Apparently, he sings South Detroit, and the location south of the Detroit City Center is actually the Canadian city of Windsor. So it's not even U.S., nor is it part of Detroit. So Steve Perry said, quote unquote, "I tried North Detroit, I tried East and West, and it didn't sing, but South Detroit sounded so beautiful. South Detroit." Yep. I love the way it sounded, only to find out later it's actually Canada. Anyway, Detroiters still had no problems with it. Apparently often referred to the east side and west side. So those are what the locals would know. I wouldn't know this. Of the city, but only rarely north, sometimes called 8 Mile, like the movie, and the road of the same name, or south, as referred to downriver or Mexican Tower, but they don't call it South Detroit. And then also the last part I thought was interesting was the lyric called "Street Light People Living, Just a Fine Emotion," came from Perry watching people and walking the streets of Detroit at night after show. So you write with what you know, and it's magic. Music video. I did some scouring. There's not an official music video. It sounds like everything, there's actual band music video with all the other songs, like Separate Ways and so forth, with the tight jeans, but not for this song. So it's probably fairly new in the whole MTV world. So when you do a Google search, you'll find live concert videos of Steve Perry singing this back in 81 and other years, and Arnel Pineda singing the song, but not an official MTV Slick music video. All right, pop culture references, because there is a lot of them. So back in 2007, remember those of you who used to religiously watch The Sopranos? Well, this song was used at the final famous scene of HBO's The Sopranos, called Made in America was the name of the episode. And apparently they did ask Steve Perry of like, are you going to be good with this? Because if you remember that, I think Tony or whatever, Soprano dies. Steve Perry was initially hesitant to allow the song to be used in The Sopranos, but later agreed. Glad they did. And again, he is a smart man, Steve Perry. The digital downloads of the song soared following the episode's airing, and the exposure motivated the band members to overcome the struggles they were having at the time and find a replacement lead singer after Perry's departure. So it kind of was another, all right, let's get the band together, because obviously in 2007 people still love us, and it came back in downloads. And then did you know number 6 is the song has for years been commonly played at, speaking of Detroit, the Detroit Red Wings hockey games, home games. So during the last minute of playoff victories, the recording is turned down during the line "Born and Raised in South Detroit" because it doesn't exist, right? It's in Canada now that we know, so that the home fans can sing the line from the song. It was played at the closing ceremony of the Red Wings' longtime home Joe Louis or Louis Arena in 2017. It also is played at other Detroit sporting events, and the song is played during the 8th inning of another sports team, which is in San Francisco, because that's where the band is from, at every 8th inning of every San Francisco Giants game. Steve Perry is a Giants season ticket holder, and memorably, I guess there's video of it, led the crowd into the song during a game in the World Series in 2014. And the last Did You Know just recently just happened. Did you know number 7 is in 2021? So this year, the song received the Grammy Hall of Fame Award. Whoa, lots of stuff, right? From beginning from Santana to the weird Jabberwocky name band to the connection of how Steve Perry was hired and then went to Arnel Pineda from my hometown of the Philippines or home country of the Philippines. And then the love keeps coming back. And I will be honest, when I started hearing it again, it was probably 2001, 2002, right when American Idol started at every karaoke bar. And you can't forget the beginning riff of the Neil Sean's guitar as well as Jonathan Cain's keyboards. And you're like, oh, and like I said, you're like, can this person do it? And more than likely can't, but there's a couple that do. Hopefully you enjoyed this jaunt down memory lane with Don't Stop Believin'. And of course, it's not about sheep perfume, although there are some towns here in Oregon that it might be about sheep perfume. You never know. If you have any great misheard song lyric ideas like this that was sent to me or reminded to me, please send them at misheardsonglyrics@gmail.com. That's MISSHEARD. See what I did there? It's a play on words. You can also send it to us by way of our Twitter account with the same name, as well as our Facebook and Instagram. We are all out there. So let us know. We love to hear from you. And please keep singing those songs wrong. Bye.